Moriba fọlọ́hun. Ìbà mo fọjọ́ oníjú. Àdáṣe ní ń mọ. Ìbà ohun mọ èèyàn nílé ayé. Mo ní mo dúpẹ́ pé mo jẹ́ obìnrin. Ọ̀rọ̀ lórí obìnrin mo fẹ́ wí. Mo ní láyé àtijọ́. Mo láwọn òbí wa. Wọ́n ní kò pọn dandan kọ́rọ̀ mọ́ obìnrin lọ sílé ìwé òjèrè. Ṣùgbọ́n láyé òde òní, obìnrin dájájọ́. Mo náà di dókítà òjèrè. Mo náà dẹni iyì ẹni pàtàkì láwùjọ òjèrè. Àwọn bíi Margaret Epo ń kọ́. Dora Akuyili náà ń bẹ̀m̀bẹ̀ òjèrè. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala náà kúkú ń bẹ̀m̀bẹ̀ òjèrè. Ìnípin mo lóhùn náà wà ń bẹ òjèrè. Queen Amina ti Zaria náà kúkú ń bẹ̀m̀bẹ̀ òjèrè. Ìyàwó HID Awólọ́wọ̀ ń kọ́. Kudiratu Abiola, obìnrin takuntakun tó jà fẹ́tọ́ mẹ́nìyàn. Kọ́lọ́n bá mi délẹ̀ ire fún.
Something I've been meaning to tell you. It's about time I let you know how I feel. Let me get a little deeper, boy, you're a keeper. I need to assure you how you did give me fever. Keep your pills, I ain't sick. I don't say this to just any time a dick or Harry. You make me fly like I'm a fairy in a fairy tale. Happily ever after, our love won't fail. Your love, they do me.
Every time I think how love's supposed to be, I look into your eyes, girl, and what I see is you loving me, and I'm loving you. As long as I breathe, that's how we should be. Hey, what more?
Some more,
What more?
baby, more.
When you're mine,
Walk on my
Jamwa.
Oh my God.
Hello, Memo.
Good evening.
How are you?
Fine. Good evening.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Sorry,
Good evening,
oh.
sir. Thank you, sir. Good evening.
You're lifted.
Yeah,
How are the children?
amen. They are
How's
fine.
your husband?
Fine. How's work?
Good to see you again.
How's everything? Yes, it's
We're
been
fine.
ages.
We're fine.
Well done.
You're welcome. Sorry,
you.
oh. We went to church, so
It's good. I hope you
we
pray
didn't
for all
finish
of us.
as quickly as I had thought we would. So sorry for keeping you waiting.
No problem. Thank
You're
you,
welcome,
Ma.
okay?
Thank you. Thank you for having us in your home.
Welcome.
Thank you. The pleasure is all ours. If all the privilege is all ours.
Thank you. No, we are here to learn from you, so the privilege is ours. Hello and welcome to Bond. The program is Bond, and today we are looking at a peculiar issue, something that is more common amongst women. But again, we have men who also practice it. I'm talking about nagging. The Bible says it is better to live on top of the rooftop than live in the same house with a nagging woman. So would you rather live on top of the rooftop or in your home? Stay with us. When we come back, we'll be looking at that issue. Welcome back. First, I want to say congratulations to you two. I hear is your 25th wedding anniversary.
Yeah, I've managed her for 25 years.
Please tell us, how have you managed that?
Well, I think learn the virtues of patience. I think that's fundamental. First of all, I think that you don't get married to somebody. It's best to get married to your friend.
Your friend is somebody.
Not just to somebody.
Okay.
Now, because the challenge is this. I love you is wonderful. But in my opinion, what really keeps a marriage is your friendship. I know this man. He has so problems. But yes, I've made up my mind about him. He's my friend. I can't tolerate his excesses or his inadequacies. And I'm going to make a life with him. or her, as the case may be. That indeed is what, in the final analysis, keeps a marriage. Because often young people have these dreams of who they'll marry. Or he has to be a tall guy,
Oh, that handsome.
handsome, rich. Okay, maybe he shouldn't be rich, but he should have prospects. Now, my question is always, suppose you marry him, tall, dark, and handsome, and suddenly something happens. He ceases to be tall, loses his leg, has scars on his face. So I think the content of the character is more important. And that means you would have said, yes, I know this character, but I'm going to make a life with this one. And second thing is that we must know that marriage is forever until death do us part. Now, with that kind of attitude, you know that whatever arises, we need to work it out. Anybody who says marriage will be smooth, there will be no quarreling, nothing, that person is not telling you the truth. But the thing is that you must be able to work out your differences. Because come to think about it, we give you a certificate at the beginning of marriage when you know absolutely nothing. So we give you a certificate of completion when you haven't even started. So we must work it out. So I think you should say, work out your marriages with fear and trembling, not just salvation alone.
How have you been able to manage 25 years looking this youthful and beautiful?
When he says manage me, he looks like somebody who has been suffering for 25 years. He has been enjoying himself for the past 25 years. You know. So how have we stayed together? I think one is just the grace of God. I mean, there were so many, when I counsel young couple, people that are trying to get married, I look back, I didn't have the benefit of all the things that I tell them. So I think in my own case, God was there. So basically, one needs to pray and seek the face of God. I mean, and then God all the way. All the problems that will come, the challenges, the difficult moments, the times of lack, and all that, you know, which puts a lot of pressure on marriages sometimes, you know, God will see you through all that. So I think that basically for me and for us, it has been the grace of God. We took a lot of decisions that only God could have guided us through. They turned out to be good decisions, but they were not based on anything that we knew or expected. They were just things that we felt, okay, in our own thinking, it was right. It wasn't like, okay, somebody had guided us or we had been taught. So yes, I think God just ordered our footsteps in that direction. When we married, we were not even born again Christians.
Really?
You know? So it's not like, okay, we had the benefit of all the counseling and all the, you know, we came from good Christian homes, lived our lives to the best of our own ability, but then it was our ability. But God saw into our lives and invested in our lives and guided our footsteps, and here we are. And we've, on our own part, you know, trusted God for a lot of things, you know. And so when you have God at the center of the relationship, it makes a lot of things easier, you know, and that's what I think. And I also think that any man who does not have a man that he fears cannot fear God, right? And so for any woman who does not have any person that she fears can also not fear God. And what do I mean by that? When I tell young people now, when you want to get married and you feel this wonderful guy, tall, dark, handsome, rich, brilliant, and blah, 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 blah. But he is his own person. There's nobody that can call him to order. There's nobody like, if you tell my son, Chinedu, I'm going to report you to your daddy, he backs off. There's no such person in that person's life. Then that person cannot be a servant of God. For the simple reason that God will use somebody to say, hey, enough is enough. And if the guy cannot, you can't find a guy who, if not because you have told if I say, I'm going to tell your pastor, I'm going to tell your daddy, or this uncle or that uncle, and the person backs off, then that person cannot be a servant of God. And so when the difficult moments come, there will be nobody to call him to order. And the same for women.
And there will always be difficult moments.
And there will be difficult
marriages, right?
Yes, there will be difficult
There's this
moments.
general belief that when you see a couple in a car, they're always frowning, everybody looking in one direction. But when you see lovers in a car driving together, they smile, they laugh and giggle and all that. Why does that happen?
Well, that is on the assumption that marriages or couples cannot be lovers. And that's where we start. As a couple, you must be lovers and you must be friends. Then you can laugh. I mean, what you just described is a friendship and a love affair that is ongoing. What we're saying is, why is it not going on in our marriages?
Yes.
Well, it should be in our marriages going on and we laugh. And what we try to do is to encourage young people to create an atmosphere of laughter and friendship in their homes. You know, when I married my husband, I used to, you know, in those early days, I used to be able to just like, okay, shut down. And he would say, well, unless you want to end the marriage, you have to talk to me. I mean, it made a lot of sense.
Yeah.
If you're not going to end the marriage, then we better be talking. And so we talk. And talking in a relationship does a lot. In a marriage, in your relationship with your children, your relationship with your bosses, relationship with colleagues in the office, there's really not anything you can't talk through. But when, like most women do, they keep quiet or they shut down or ignore their husbands, and then when there's a problem, they say, I didn't say anything to him. Meanwhile, you know that you were actively ignoring the man. And you now say you didn't say anything to him as if
that is also a problem. You know? Non-verbal communication is also a problem.
Oh, yes, and that's a real problem.
Okay.
Body language. Okay. You know, you can do more damage by what you do not say than by what you say, just what you act out. And I think, like you said, communication is very important in a marriage. Okay. And we just must understand that if two people are not talking, how are you going to communicate? You don't assume that she knows, I assume that he knows, and then you bottle up things. Then in 2.5 years' time, you now bring out your diary from your memory. Say, on the 2nd of December, so and so, you did so and so, you begged me and I forgave you. On the 31st of March, you did. By the time you are finished, the guy says, wow, this woman could have killed me. So what that does is, even if there's been a breach of trust or there's already a gap, it widens. Okay. Because it just says, you've been having all this in mind. So gradually, you find that you are talking less and less, and the gap grows more and more. Maybe that's the kind of couple they are talking about. Okay. But you can see that couple already is in big problem. But they must come to a position where they must decide whether they want to have this marriage or not. And if you want to have the marriage, you must go back and begin to communicate and say, let's rebuild our marriage. But if a marriage is ongoing and they are communicating, that wouldn't fit the description we've just heard of the people who are always angry when they are in the car. They may be preoccupied, but that doesn't mean that they don't talk.
It may be as a result of bottled up feelings that they can't express. Yeah. So that is another way of expressing the anger, the feel on the inside. You both are marriage counselors, so we are in the right home. Well, stay with us. When we come back, you will hear more about nagging. The program is Bond. We're looking at the issue of nagging. Men and women nag. Why do they nag? What are the reasons behind nagging?
Nagging is negative communication. It's born out of bad habits, with pent-up emotion, frustrations, and poor communication in a marriage. So first, we need to address the issue of where you are marrying from. If you are not yet married, it's important for you to check the family where you are marrying into. There are families that are notorious for nagging. There may be problems in the family, and then of course the children who are raised in an environment where there is a lot of nagging grow up to see it as normal, as a normal way of life. And that's why it's important to check some of these things. you know. Then, of course, in a marriage, when you're already married, it's important that you communicate. When you don't talk, you don't discuss your issues, you don't find occasions to address the things that bother you. You just bottle it up. Of course, when you want to now, when you've had enough of it, it just comes out like nagging. And when you've done that over a long period and you don't have a habit of actually discussing your issues, you tend to nag very often. You know, that becomes a normal way of communicating. So if you are not talking with your husband or the husband is not talking with his wife, so they just throw words at each other. And it's certainly not good for anybody. And of course, when people are angry, you can be angry all the time. I was talking to my sister-in-law this morning and we were like having discussions. We should have made that call, you know, before. And so in my mind, I said to her, oh, I've been talking to you all this while in my head. She said, oh, it happens to you also. What happens sometimes that you actually quarrel with your husband or your wife, you know. Okay, let me say, I actually quarrel with my husband. I don't know whether he quarrels with me in his head. So I will say my own, I will say his own. I will say my own, he'll say his own. Then I will reply him, you know. So I'm having that discussion all inside my head. So you see, those kinds of things can also lead to, you know, so as soon as the person walks into the house, you continue the quarrel from where you stopped it in your head. Meanwhile, the person doesn't know what you're talking about. So nagging is bad for any relationship. It's bad for marriage. It's bad for your relationship with your children. It's bad for your relationship with your anybody, relations, friends, and all of that. And we also must guard against, you know, well, in a good marriage, in any marriage that must be good, we must see a marriage as a relationship of family. It's not just one person or two persons. It's a relationship of community based on the love and relationship of one man and one woman. So if you extend that to the community, you also know that you have to be tolerant and accommodative of other persons in the home.
What if one party is willing to talk and discuss, and the other person feels in his or her own nature he shouldn't talk? How do you force the person to talk? How do you communicate in that sense?
Well, I think that it's very important for any marriage that you start with counseling before marriage. Communication in marriage is something very important, and we need to teach young people that is important. If we want to make our relations to work, you who is one who feels that you're trying to correct the person is not coming forth, you must take a step backward and say, this way I'm going about this, is it working? For example, if you begin to nag a man, what does the man say? The man will say, this woman is trying to control me. I'm not going to let her control me. So it only makes things worse because he will not listen. No matter what you do, even when you are right, he has made up his mind that all you want to do is to control him. He's not going to board because he is the man.
Yeah.
So whoever finds him, and the challenge here is often the nagging partner thinks he or she is right. And until they can get counsel that makes him or her see the damage that he or she is doing to the relationship, it's probably not going to change, not going to make a difference until the relationship goes bad completely. Now, it becomes important for people who are getting married to make up their mind that what you are getting is as is. This guy is not going to change, neither is this lady going to change. Because if you're marrying somebody hoping to change that person, you've already lost from the beginning.
In a marriage, there are bound to be challenges and difficult times. Have you had any challenge in your marriage?
Wow. I think that is why I said, when I talk to young people, I say, you should marry only your friend. I'm talking from experience. I love you, I love you, I love you. When the early challenges begin to arise, for example, marriage, we were young, was not strong financially. By the time the first baby came, wow, it was tough She was a student, final year medical student at the time, and now was 28 naira, Abi. It was 28 naira, and it was so difficult to buy the 28 naira now whenever it was needed at that point in time. So what happens? The woman comes under pressure, and then you're seeing this young man is not meeting his obligations. Reality sets in. You now need to begin to join him to figure out what is best to do. So you begin to take some of the pressure, sometimes a lot of the pressure, and you become practical. All those lovey out of the window. Survival becomes priority. Okay. Yes, those challenges will come. And we did have our fair share. But like I said, attitude is very important. Okay. This marriage must work, irrespective of what. You want to say something?
Of course, we've had our own challenges. I mean, nobody's life is perfect. Ours certainly not perfect, but we've always been committed to working at it. You know, I mean, there was no option of not being married in our own case. Me, my own problems were so many because I grew up in the village. So now I get married. My husband is a city person. So I mean, one Christmas I was praying for him to die so that I can just go home. And it will just, you know, I didn't want it to be that I ran away from my marriage or it failed. So a better option would have been for him to just die. So at least I will come back and it won't be my fault. And
did that thought actually cross your mind?
No, I actually was. Out of the blues, he now said that you must be praying for me to die so that you can go to the village. And I was like, how did that happen? I mean,
it is believed that the women nag most. Do you agree with that assertion?
Madam?
No, I don't. I don't agree that women nag more. I think both men and women nag. Also, part of the reason parents nag at their children is sometimes when you're nagging at your child, you're actually nagging at your husband or your wife. But, you know, you just take the anger.
Transferred aggression.
Yes, you know, take it out on the child. So because you can't do some things to your husband, you just face your son or your daughter and just neutralize, say all the things you would have wanted to say to the man, to the child, you know. So, of course, because women are more loquacious than the men, you know, it tends,
yeah,
they get
more, what I mean by women
they get more frustrated when men don't respond, you know, to some of the things they want to say or communicate. But I don't think that women nag more than the men.
But don't you think you're contradicting yourself? You say people talk more, and then you say that we don't nag. If you nag more, if you talk more, you must nag more.
Talking is not nagging. Nagging is nagging. Talking is talking. Nagging is nagging. They are not the same thing.
I agree.
Have you seen my beautiful baby? Have you seen my tomato baby? Oh, ELA, baby, suffer the cool me temper. Ada, baby, na sugar, yo. Ada, Adamwa, Ada, Jaya Samwa, Ada, hey, Ada, live your rama. Everybody they wait you. Utakene no po, if any mama, baby, supuna money killer.
Now, when people are getting married, they talk about being compatible. Interesting part of it is that they're saying that they're not looking forward to having conflicts in their homes, but that is not true. Conflict is a part of marriage, and the earlier we get this into our system, the better for us. People are willing to go to any length to ensure that their business having problems is stabilized. But when it comes to their home, they are not willing to do anything to ensure that their home is stable. Conflict is a part of marriage. We must learn to resolve conflict. When I use the term learn, I mean learn. When you get married initially, you are not taught these things. But once you are married, you begin to understand that the dynamics of marriage is different from every other thing, and you need to learn these things. So when you get married and you are beginning to have conflicts, my brother, my sister, you need to learn. Learn how to resolve conflicts, and you will discover that it's as easy as ABC.